right, so today I have some good news to report, or at least on the surface, it seems like good news, so we'll go ahead and call it that. I don't know if you've been following, but in California, there's something called the AB5 Law. And what the AB5 Law does is it makes it so that workers in California have to pass an ABC test to qualify as an independent contractor. Now, why would they make it so that someone has to qualify to be called an independent contractor? Well, for good reason. They're saying that you're having employers in the state of California who are misusing, abusing the independent contractor status, and they're misclassifying people who are really employees as independent contractors. Now, why would they do that? Why would they want to make someone an independent contractor when truly they are an employee? Well, there's a reason for that. The reason for that is because independent contractors are not paid like employees. Employees have to get a minimum wage. Employees have to get certain benefits. So to bypass that, so I don't have to pay you minimum wage, so I don't have to pay you benefits, they now call you independent contractors, right? So now, in order to qualify as an independent contractor, you have to pass that test. And if you don't pass that test, you're not an independent contractor, you are an employee. So now let's jump over to Arizona. You have 1,400 workers in Arizona, truck drivers as a matter of fact, who just won a $5.6 million lawsuit. Now, why did they win a $5.6 million lawsuit? Well, because of independent contractor status. You had a company in Arizona that was calling people who should have been classified as employees independent contractors. And of course, to get out of paying them like employees should be paid. So what happened? They went to court and the truck drivers won that lawsuit. And I think it was $2.8 million in back pay, $2.8 million in damages, and that's going to be split between 1,400 drivers. And although that might not sound like a whole lot of money individually, when you're looking at 1,400 people, $5.6 million, there have been some people that have been identified that will be getting upwards of $100,000, upwards of $50,000. But what I think is more so going to do is to hold employers accountable for their actions. I think they're going to be very aware of who they make employees as compared to who they make independent contractors, because it could come back to bite you at some point. What I also think about is how will this affect trucking capacity? Because I'm a freight broker, you may be a truck driver, but I'm thinking in terms of trucking capacity and how this will affect the overall market. And anytime we talk about decreases in trucking capacity, that's always a good thing for freight brokers. So let's see how it turns out. You know, people thought that this just would be just for the state of California. I never thought that. I thought that it would continue. Once that fire starts, it's going to be like a wildfire that goes from state to state when it comes down to making sure that people are classified the proper way. If you are an employee, you have to be an employee. If you are an independent contractor, then you'll be called an independent contractor. But I'm sure, just like in California, there'll be a certain test that you have to pass in order to be an independent contractor. And I think that's the purpose of that, is just to make sure that workers are not being taken advantage of. So that's what I wanted to share with you today, to keep you abreast of what's going on in the trucking and the freight broker community. If you're interested in learning more about the freight brokerage business, I'll leave a free link in the description. It's my 5-video series titled How the Load Movement Process Works. It allows for you to see me in the office on video, moving freight, talking to shippers and carriers, so that you'll have a better understanding of how this business works before you come into it. And then if you're interested in learning more about how load boards work, I'll leave you a free video right here. So until the next time, I wish you the very best in your life and business. See you at the top, because the bottom is much too crowded.